first thing everyone always asks me when they come to our farm is if I grew up doing this. And the answer is no. I'm not even from the South. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and so I'm a Jersey girl. And over time, I have learned to kind of lose my accent a little bit so I can fit in a little bit better here in the South. My husband was born and raised in Southeast Georgia, so it gives me a little bit of Southern street cred. But for the most part, I stick out like a sore thumb where we live. And so it's always interesting for people that come here and they meet me. How did this dreadlocked girl end up down here in South Carolina raising pigs? Is always the big question. So if you had told me 5, 6, 10 years ago that I would have a farm and I would be doing this, I would have told you that's crazy. The one thing that always made me who I was growing up was that I was always able to work super hard and prove myself to people. And so I was always kind of the underdog. I spent my childhood with horses. I showed them all across the country on the Appaloosa circuit. My dad was a teacher. My mom, she was a nurse practitioner. My dad and I, we would always garden when I was growing up. He wasn't very good at it. I don't think I was very good at it either. We would mostly just till up the ground and plant things, and my mom says that they would get completely covered with weeds, and we would go back and maybe pick some stuff off of it, but I mostly just enjoyed digging around in the dirt. So as I got older and I continued to have this, desire to be in touch with nature, I found myself seeking that out more. In high school, I loved to go camping. I loved to do things like that, but I was always interested in the environment and just being around nature. But as I got older, I kind of started to lose myself a little bit in what was expected of me. Society wanted to fit me into this box that they told me I needed to be in and go to school, go to college, get great grades, get a good job, just kind of be another ant in line. And it was just something that I was never really on the same wavelength with. I never dated the people that my parents wanted me to. I never hung around the people that maybe I should have. And I always took the path that was less popular. And so when I went away to college, I struggled a lot trying to fit in, trying to find my place, trying to figure out what was the next step for me and trying to fit into the box that society had told me that I needed to be in. But still, all along, I had this just desire inside to completely buck the system and do things that, were just not what everybody else wanted me to do. And so I struggled a lot, and I was hospitalized for my depression multiple times. I was on a lot of different medications. Sometimes I wouldn't even remember my days. There are times of my life now that are blank because of the medication that I was on. And during that time, my dad ended up getting sick and he got cancer. When we took him to the hospital for the last time, he went downhill in a month's time. And so there was a night that the doctor came into the room and he just asked my dad if he knew what was happening, if he knew that he was dying. And my dad told him that he understood. And the doctor left and he kind of just hugged us all and, told us all that he loved us. And at that point, my dad looked at me and he said, "Marissa, you have to promise me that you're going to be okay." And I knew what he was saying. I knew that he was telling me that, I needed to not be hospitalized anymore for my depression. I needed to overcome it. I needed to do what I needed to do to make sure that I'm healthy and that I live a healthy life and I'm around for my mom and kids in the future if I have them and things like that. So I promised him that, even though I really didn't know how I was ever going to keep that promise, because at the time I'm still battling these demons inside. And so I saw this precious life and everything, and it was taken away so quickly. And and I felt robbed of losing my father. But I also knew that I could not carry that with me, and I needed to get better. I needed to find the things in life that made me happier.